Hey guys, it's John. Darren is still in Spain, but you will hear from him shortly, I promise. One of the, ideas that I threw Darren's way when we were considering starting this company was I talked about Darren's ability to record from vacation if it's a podcast, not a radio show. There's some technical stuff that I don't need to get into as to why that's more difficult to do on the radio than it is on a podcast, but also just scheduling wise, right? Like with podcasts, you can fit in a recording whenever you have time, whereas a radio show, you have to build your whole life around that schedule. And so I told Darren, I said, hey, when you go on vacation for a week or two, like he's doing now, fans miss you. I would miss Darren when he would go on vacation and go out of town. And now, because of Section 1904, we get check-ins from vacation. Darren has been there not even a day. He's already sending in check-ins. He's already sending in thoughts on the Padres and the NBA playoffs. I'm going to play that in a minute, but this is just one more reason to subscribe to Section 1904. You get the front row seat newsletter that I'm doing. You get any blog posts that I'm doing. Darren keeps promising that he's going to start writing stuff soon, and I actually believe him. But you get Darren Smith almost each and every day, even when he's on vacation, and you get me almost each and every day, even when I'm on vacation, which I have one coming up in about a month or so, where I'll be probably podcasting from Darren or with Darren over the internet, just from the other side of the country. Or I'll send in, solo check-ins like he sent me this morning if we can't make the timing work. But stay tuned to hear Darren talk about how many wieners his wife has seen in their first day in Spain, his thoughts on Xander Bogaerts' big game, his NBA playoffs thoughts, also his brain, you can just tell, is kind of a puddle from all the traveling. He does refer to the Nuggets win over the, I believe, Grizzlies, or maybe the Clippers lost to the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are out. The Grizzlies are not in the NBA playoffs anymore. He meant the Nuggets absolutely slaughtering my beloved LA Clippers last night when they just caught an absolute heater and could not miss from three. I meant to check after that game to see what their three-point shooting percentage was as a team, because I just, it got to the end of the fourth quarter, towards the end of the fourth quarter, and I just said to myself, I think I posted it on Blue Sky, like, I don't remember the last time they missed a three. I don't know that I saw them miss a three the entire second half, and I don't actually remember if they missed any in the first half. It seemed like it didn't matter if it was Jamal Murray, Michael Porter with one arm, Russell Westbrook, one of the worst, the single worst high-volume three-point shooter in the history of the NBA. It didn't matter who was shooting the ball. They were all going in. Kawhi tried his best. The Clippers offensively were actually fine. Defensively, they were a little less than ideal, but when the other team is just making everything they throw up there, I don't know how much you can point a finger at the defense. I think you just have to point at the Clippers and say, like, hey, man, sorry, the Nuggets got on a heater there, especially Jamal Murray, who I think ended with like 43 points. I think it was like a playoff career high or something like that. Everyone on the Nuggets played great. The Clippers just couldn't keep pace, and how could they? That was the game that I was most focused in on last night, and actually genuinely disappointed by. The Knicks-Pistons game, Darren said he was very happy to miss that one because the Knicks lost. That was an interesting game. It was a very close game. It was a hard-fought game. I'm really looking forward to Game 6 of that series. I think the Pistons have a chance to send it to a Game 7. This whole series has been really strange in that Jalen Brunson seems to hurt his ankle in like the second half of every single game, and then eventually he comes back and kind of wills the Knicks to victory, or he misses so much that he can't. And last night was one of those instances where he missed so much time in the fourth quarter that by the time he got back in and the level of health he was at, he couldn't pull off the win. So that's been a really good, exciting series. The Pacers put the Bucks out of their misery after they lost Dame a couple games ago. The Bucks had kind of no chance. The Pacers are sneaky, really good and dangerous, and it's just a different kind of team. Anytime you're in the playoffs, if you can throw at opponents a different kind of team, it takes them a while to adjust. You can usually get some sort of an advantage in the early games. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Pacers do going forward. Someone else got knocked out last night. I don't know, one of these 1-8, 2-7 matchups that don't really matter. It's fine. The important games you're mostly caught up on. The Padres, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Padres after I play Darren. I didn't pay very close attention to the first few innings of that game, but I got enough, and I definitely paid attention to the last few innings of the game. There's something that I feel like is a statistical anomaly, but it's also really hard to look up that I'm going to flag for everyone. But we'll talk about the Padres game later. Let's go to whatever the city is south of Barcelona that Darren is in. He is sitting on his balcony. He has a microphone. He's looking out at the Mediterranean Sea, and he is recording a podcast for you. So might as well deliver it to you. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, well, check 1, 2, and check 1, 2. A first for me in 20 years of broadcasting. The first time I think ever that I'm holding a microphone looking into the Mediterranean Sea, third-story balcony in Sitges, Spain, Sitges. I'm overlooking a beach. I'm overlooking some waves. There are some kite surfers out there. I think they're kite surfers. I always get confused, the people that are on like a ski-looking thing with a parachute versus the people that are on a surfboard-looking thing with a sail. Maybe it's a parasail, I'm not exactly sure. But it's one of those two things. It's the one where people are standing on what appears to be a surfboard with a sail on it. I can see, 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. And apologies for the wind. It is a rather breezy day here in Sitges, but certainly a first for Section 1904, a first for yours truly, as we're taking you international. Dear listener, thank you all so much. This is the content that you wanted when you subscribe to Section 1904, isn't it? To listen to me on vacation, sitting on my balcony, getting set to take the train into Barcelona to watch Barcelona take on Inter Milan in the semifinals of Champions League. That's going to be at 9 o'clock local time here in Spain. That'll be on at 12 noon if you're listening to this in California. I don't know exactly when it is that John will get this podcast up and posted today. I'm sure he's going to hate the audio quality because I'm using a handheld mic, and John is a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to audio quality. So I'm sure the wind in the background, it's Spain, so there might be somebody driving by on a scooter. Many people, commute via scooter here in Spain and in Europe. So I'm sure it's not going to be perfect per John's standards as somebody who's produced 1 million podcasts in his life and is a stickler for quality. But this is the best that we could do here today. And our timing just didn't align for John and me. John's in the middle of getting kids ready and all sorts of family stuff. It's 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. While I'm recording, it's just past 5 o'clock. It's been a full day already here. Left San Diego on a 9:30 flight to Philadelphia. Had about an hour and a half layover, and then an overnight flight from Philadelphia to Barcelona. So we actually landed Wednesday morning at about 9:30. And Sitges, for those that don't know, if you know where Barcelona is, if you look at Spain, the peninsula, it's on the Mediterranean side. A little bit further up the coast towards France, towards Italy, and the upper northeastern quarter, I guess it would be. And Sitges is just about 25 miles south of Barcelona. So if you've ever flown into Barcelona airport, you take a taxi, you go into the city. To get to Sitges, you go south. So instead of going north, you go south, about 25 minutes. Super convenient, too. There's a train that leaves here about every 15, 20 minutes, and it takes you right into the city, right into the heart of Barcelona. So we're going to do that here in about 30, 40 minutes. We're going to take a train from Sitges into Barcelona. We have some friends who have recently relocated from San Diego to Barcelona. So you might hear from him coming up a little later on today. His name is Ruben, recently retired, grew up in Chula Vista. He's the president of the FC Barcelona Peña. Peña is a supporters group, what they call a supporters group with Spanish soccer. So going to meet up with him, with his wife Nadia, and we're going to go have a couple of tapas, have a couple of beers, have a couple pregame cocktails, and then at 9 o'clock here locally, we're going to go into Montjuic, into the Olympic Stadium, and watch FC Barcelona and Inter Milan, a semifinal for Barca in the Champions League, first time since 2019. So this one was coincidental. We were planning on coming to Spain to tour around. We're going to Valencia later this week. My wife is on a 4-day horse retreat, so she's going to go off and do that. I'm going to entertain myself for 3 or 4 days while she's off riding Phrygians on the beaches and doing all sorts of stuff, and I'll figure something out for about 4 days. Then we're going to go to Valencia. Then we're meeting a larger group back in Barcelona to watch Barcelona and Real Madrid, the match that is known more commonly as El Clásico. But no problems. I know lots of people complain about travel, and it's sort of a thing amongst people in sports media to always complain, take the social media, complain because they're delayed at this airport or that port. But no problems, none whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I was just thinking, like, how amazing it is that I can wake up in San Diego, that I could get on a 9:30 a.m. flight, and I could land in Barcelona at 9:30 the next morning. Yeah, I know, it's an entire day that I can't get back, but it certainly has been worth it here thus far. One of the things I think I don't... I'm trying to see if my wife is going to join me out here on the balcony, because we went for a walk in Sitges. I don't know how many people have ever been here before, but it is a very, very laid-back beach community. Very laid-back beach community. So laid back, in fact, that as we were walking today, and this didn't come as a complete surprise because we did do our research, we came across a nude beach, and we had not yet been on the beach ourselves. We couldn't get into our hotel. You know that feeling when you travel and you just have all sorts of airport funk on you, so we weren't feeling too good about ourselves, but we did go for a walk, had a cup of coffee, went and found a nice restaurant, posted a picture on Instagram. Hopefully you saw it and liked it. Didn't take long to find the jamón ibérico here in Spain, one of my absolute favorites. But we did walk by a nude beach, and we had that conversation. Probably will update you on that here over the next couple of days. Don't know what we will or won't do, what we will or won't commit to. We have a day completely free on Thursday, so this day has been a little bit of a rush from airport, getting into Sitges, not being able to get into the hotel, walking around, tried to sneak in a quick siesta, and then we're off to catch the train, and then the train into Barcelona, the match, and then we'll get back here to Sitges tonight, and we have really nothing to do at all on Thursday, so stay tuned. You never know. We'll see. I don't know what I'm even going to admit to here on this podcast. The one thing I will say, nude beaches always sound great in theory till you walk past one. It's never quite the type of person that you really wanted to see nude, if you know what I mean. But they're bold, and they're out, and they're free. My wife's seen more wiener today than, and not mine, than she has in many, many, many years. So, yes, we'll leave that at that. But catching up also on what it was that happened in sports, and I saw that Xander Bogaerts, I had a joke about Xander Bogaerts and Steve Garvey and which home run was the biggest home run. But, you know, I don't like sounding like I'm picking on Xander Bogaerts. Because I like Xander Bogaerts. And I don't say that as somebody who claims to know him. I genuinely, though, think he's a player. Unlike some players who we've discussed on this podcast, I think he's a player who actually cares. And I know that doesn't matter. I know he gets paid a lot of money. So for lots and lots of fans, it's just about, hey, you get paid to perform, you're not performing, that's it. We don't care. You might be the nicest guy on planet Earth, but we're not really all that interested. You came here as a free agent. You get paid a lot of money to do a job. We just want you to do the job. And I understand that, and I appreciate that, and I think sometimes I feel like that's probably the right approach to take. But, you know, I do also think there is a human side, and I do think that the guy cares. I don't think he's somebody here who got paid and just decided to check out, doesn't work hard. One of those scooters that John's going to hate. That he doesn't care, that he, you know, but was happy to see that he hit a homer. Hopefully it's the beginning of a lot of good things to come for Xander Bogaerts. After all that's been said not just here on Section 1904, but seemingly everywhere for anybody who's been covering the Padres. I'd love to see it. I don't know that I'm holding my breath, but I would love to see him be a useful player for the Padres. Not a great player. I think we've decided already that that's not in the cards for Xander Bogaerts. But just to be a useful player, I think, even at his rate, even at his pay, would make a lot of people happy. Yuli Gurriel, that experiment's over. No real problems for me with that. I know for some this was a complete waste of time. Many people also thought that Jurickson Profar was going to be a complete waste of time last season, and turned out to be a really, really great thing, even with the current situation factored in. So I thought it was a risk that was okay to take, and I'm glad the Padres have decided, we're just not going to carry on with this any longer, and we're going to move forward. So another game coming up. I'm sure John will have you covered on the Padres stuff, but I will certainly try to chime in on socials a little later on from the Champions League match. I would love to bring you some sights, some sounds, and just some of the energy from inside of a Champions League match. I've never been to a Champions League match. I've been to a Europa League match between Sevilla and Manchester United a couple of years ago. Just kind of stumbled into that one. We were visiting Sevilla, and Sevilla was hosting Manchester United, and it was really one of the best sporting events I think I've ever been to, having absolutely no emotional attachment whatsoever to either team. We were rooting for Sevilla because we were in Sevilla, and we were surrounded by people who lived in Sevilla. And hey, who really cares? I don't care about Manchester United. They'll play tomorrow, but really turned out to be a fun sporting event. So a European soccer match on a weeknight, on a Tuesday or a Wednesday after watching Arsenal and PSG yesterday. We're pretty much on fumes here, but the energy and the excitement of going to this match are definitely going to get us through it. So we'll keep you up to date on the nude beat situation. And all in all, yeah, pretty good trip. I mean, pretty uneventful trip through Philadelphia. American Airlines used points to get here. I have to say, food wasn't great, but I thought it was adequate enough. Good thing we prepared. Definitely prepared. I saw on the basketball, I was glad to have missed Detroit and the Knicks. I was not sad. I was not sad to miss that. I was sad to miss the Clippers and the Grizzlies, because by all accounts it looked like it was a pretty fun game. But yeah. I mean, here we are. It's Spain, the Mediterranean. Just one of my favorite places on earth is sitting here in Spain and looking into the Mediterranean Sea. It's so similar to life as we live it in San Diego, which I think is what makes me so happy about it. And the food and the people and the culture, and it's just a tremendous getaway. So I'll make a prediction. I will say that Barcelona will win tonight 2-0. I'll give them a 2-0. Inter Milan is on a little bit of a scoring slump, knock on wood. Hopefully that will continue. But John will have you on the Padres. Thank you to Craig Elston. I did land, and I did receive a bunch of text messages from some who will remain anonymous about whatever the conversation was regarding disbanding San Diego State football. So I don't know exactly what was said there, but I feel like every once in a while this is a conversation that pops up in San Diego, and that was yesterday on Section 1904. So thank you for those text messages. I really appreciated it, guys. Thanks so much. And people learned lots and lots and lots about your golf games too, apparently, which I also received some commentary on. So way to go, Craig Elston. Do appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. All right, I'm going to get myself situated and get up and get going. I'm just gonna see it again. Let's see if my wife wants to come out here and say a quick word. Let's see. Nope. She doesn't seem to be responding. All right. Well, we'll do it again. We'll get her on the mic at some point here. But from Sitges, Spain.
Okay, we're back. I don't want to make this too long for a couple of reasons. One, I'm going to the Padres game this afternoon. It starts in just a few hours here, so I don't want to say anything that's going to be completely outdated if someone is listening to this in a few hours. I also just, I live in North County. Like, if I want to go to a day game, I gotta make plans. I gotta get down there. So I gotta get myself ready, get all my stuff together, go down, meet a friend, have some lunch downtown, go to the game, and then probably sit in rush hour traffic on my way back, which, is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. I was going to say for you guys listening, but we all know it's because I really love weekday afternoon baseball, and I haven't been to a weekday afternoon Padres game in years. I think years, like multiple years. So this is going to be fun for me. The one thing I want to say, look, Darren avoided making a joke about what a big deal has been made of Xander Bogaerts hitting a home run last night. Xander Bogaerts had a good game last night. This is my thoughts on it. They probably align with Darren's. And I try to not be a doomer. And Darren has talked about, he's a little bit of a negative Nancy when it comes to, the teams he follows. That's how he fans. And sometimes that's how I fan. But I don't want this podcast to turn into two guys that are just being, I don't know, pessimistic or worrisome about the Padres. So I try and stay optimistic. But this is the feeling I had last night. Xander Bogaerts comes up in the first inning, I think, hits a ground ball up the middle, a hot ground ball up the middle, and it scores a run. He gets an RBI, maybe even 2 off it, and then later he comes up and he hits a home run, and everyone's like, "Hey, look, I talked about it with Craig yesterday. Xander Bogaerts, these were Craig's words. Xander Bogaerts used to be a home run hitter. He hit a home run last night. Xander Bogaerts used to hit with guys in scoring position. He hit with guys in scoring position last night. His final line in 4 at-bats is 2 hits, 1 strikeout, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. That's pretty good. He didn't win the game by himself. A lot of other guys played well. Luis Arias came back. He played well. Manny Machado, who just looks like the slowest player in baseball, still managed to play well. 2 hits, an RBI, run scored. Gavin Sheets found a way to score twice without getting a hit. Good for him. Jason Hayward came back. He had 2 hits and 4 at-bats in his first game back. Good for him. I never know if it's Elias Diaz. I think it is. Elias or Elias. I'm going to go with Elias. Elias Diaz. Got 2 hits in 4 at-bats and scored a run. Like, up and down the lineup, everyone was pretty much good. The only player who had what I would call a bad game is Fernando Tatis Jr., who went 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. I think I saw one of those at-bats. It's pretty obvious that he's just being a little aggressive right now. He's trying to fight his way out of his slump and all of that. But still batting .330, still slugging .596. I'm not worried about the kid. He'll figure it out. He doesn't need to have a good game just because everyone else had a good game, and the Padres win. And they beat a Giants team that is nipping at their heels. Right now, the Padres are 18-11. The Giants are 19-11. So I guess the Padres are nipping at the Giants' heels, technically. But evenly matched teams. It's an important win for the Padres to get. This is an interesting stat that I don't know the last time I saw. It feels interesting. Not good, not bad, not anything. Just a thing that popped out to me when I checked the box score this morning. Padres pitchers. Nick Pivetta gets a win, throwing 5 1/3. Jeremiah Estrada. There was a Johnny Estrada. He was, I think, a catcher. Jeremiah Estrada goes 2/3 of an inning, gets a hold. Adrian Morejon pitches an inning, gets a hold. Jason Adam pitches an inning, gets a hold. Robert Suarez, Bobby Fastballs, pitches an inning, gets a save. All 5 Padres pitchers got positive statistical, decisions, I guess. Like, Pivetta gets a win. Estrada, Morejon, and Adam all get holds. Suarez gets a save. I think anytime you do that's a solid pitching performance from the San Diego Padres. Great to see. I actually have gotten to the point. I haven't started checking like games Maldonado has started versus games Diaz has started and who has the better record or pitching performance or anything. But I am starting to notice that I feel like the pitching is a little bit better when Diaz is in there. I don't know why that is. That could just be my own rage every time Maldonado, misses catching a fastball on the outside corner that's probably a strike and ends up rolling to the backstop. I don't know. But for right now, I think Diaz has the edge as far as what he's able to get out of this pitching staff. So good win from the Padres. They'll try and do it again against the Giants today. If they do, they will be 19-11 and the Giants will be 19-12. So the Padres will take back, I think, second place in the NL West. I don't have the standings right in front of me. Everyone's within a game or so of each other in like the top 4. So yeah, that's all I have to say, except, I know what I was going to say. When Xander hit the hot smash ground ball and then the home run, which, if I'm being honest, didn't look like, wow, he really connected with one. It kind of looked like he ran into one, and it's not like it went to one of the deep alleys and over the fence. It reminded me of when everyone used to say like, oh, Hosmer's done. Hosmer stinks. Everything Hosmer hits is a ground ball, blah, blah, blah. And then he would have a game where like he hit a hot ground ball through the middle, and you're like, yeah, but it's still a ground ball. And then he would run into one, and it would go over a wall in like a short corner somewhere, and everyone's like, oh man, Hosmer's got the power back going now. And then, a week later, he would still be Eric Hosmer on the Padres. So I'm not going to take everything that I've thought or said about Xander Bogaerts and throw it in the garbage just because he had a good game last night. I'm thrilled that he had a good game. If Xander Bogaerts is a good hitter and let's call it average fielder, which he's been neither of those things this year or last year, really, this team is significantly better. Significantly better. Last night, he hit out of the 5 hole. When Jackson Merrill and Jake Cronenworth come back, he might be hitting out of the 6 hole, the 7 hole. If he can be a good hitter and an average fielder out of the 6 or 7 hole, that means that the Padres lineup goes 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 guys deep with good hitters. That means that the only hitter that a pitcher feels comfortable facing in the lineup at that point is the catcher and whoever is playing left field, probably. That is something that you can really win with. And that is what the Padres showed early on in the season before, they stopped going 7 deep with good hitters in their lineup and got to the point where it was 4 deep with good hitters in their lineup due to injuries. So the better Bogaerts plays, the more the guys get healthy and come back. There was a thing in Front Row Seat this morning that I think I copied from Kevin Acey, but it might have been one of the other Union Tribune writers that said about when Merrill's coming back, about when Cronenworth's coming back. Apparently, Yu Darvish is joining those guys along with Brandon Lockridge, I think, to play some like simulated games, maybe out in Arizona. There was mention of a Yu Darvish minor league start, so my hope of going up to Lake Elsinore to see Yu Darvish just destroy like 19-year-old prospects still lives on. And that's all good. The healthier this team is and the better Xander Bogaerts plays, they do have a real recipe here to be the team that we saw in the first few weeks of the season that is ridiculously good, that can challenge for the NL West, that can be a championship contender. And we saw a glimpse of that again last night because 2 guys came back and Xander Bogaerts had one of his good games. I'm interested to see, especially, a player's a little bit on the older side. Not really. I think he's just in his 30s, playing a day game after a night game. He talked after the game. Marty Caswell had a interview with him up on her YouTube channel. A lot of people talked to Xander, and he just talked about hitting that home run and the relief that he felt hitting that home run and knocking in a run with guys on base. So that's going to be an adrenaline kind of letdown for him after last night. And either it's going to allow him to be comfortable and be more himself at the plate today, or he's just going to have nothing today. There's going to be no energy today, and he's going to go like 0 for 4 or 0 for 5, and we're all going to go back to like, well, it was just one game. Be interesting to see which one that is. If you're listening to this after the game, you know probably which one it was. All right. That has been a fantastic intercontinental podcast, literally, from Carlsbad, California. I'm John Gennaro. From Spain, that's Darren Smith. We're trying to make it here as an independent community-supported podcast and media company. We are growing things all the time. We've added a daily newsletter. We've added a Discord server. We continue to add things. We are going to continue to add things. We have plans. We just don't want to reveal them for a number of reasons. So if you are a subscriber to Section 1904, and I want to shout out some of the people who became subscribers in the last week, Lisa, William, who I know is Bill, Tom, David, Jeff, Matt, Jay, Ryan, Brian, Gordon. If I didn't say your name, I'm sorry. Those are just, I guess, the last 10 or so people that have popped up with new paid subscriptions. Thank you so much. We are coming up on May 1st, which I think is when we're going to start putting some of this stuff behind a paywall, start putting some of these podcasts on the subscribers only feed. If you have any questions as to what that is and how you can get it, you should get an email once you become a paid subscriber. If you don't, you can reach out to me, jg@section1904.com. I will be back tomorrow afternoon with a podcast in which I'm talking to Bill Handstock, who pays a lot of attention to sports and a lot of attention to professional wrestling. He's written a book about it, a great book, one of my favorite books. So we're going to have a nice and interesting conversation that I hope Darren Smith can join us for. If not, we'll probably get another check-in from Darren. I'm getting texts from him now that his wife wants to defend herself because she did not make an appearance on this first episode. So Mrs. Smith, who's not actually Mrs. Smith, Darren's wife will probably be on either tomorrow or Friday, but we have lots of plans. We're going to keep pumping out this content for you. I am not on vacation, and Darren is in Spain, but working hard for you. So thank you to the community. We love you guys. Thank you for letting us do this. If you're not a paid subscriber, I can't recommend it highly enough. Section1904.com is where you can become one. All right, until tomorrow. Thank you. I'm out.